And what I've found in my groups and my research and in the process, my own life and the process of writing this book is like when we follow those sparkles, that's when we are inviting flow. Like that's how we enter into this space where it's almost like we're one with our own inner spark. And that kicks off synchronicities and miracles in our lives. And so, we talk a lot about the flow state being this thing that helps us achieve. And then there's this idea of flow as just go with the flow and let go. And they almost seem contradictory, but really I think they're one and the same because when we take the action and make a choice to follow the sparkles, that's when we enter this space where we feel almost like we're being held by this greater flow and we just end up going to places that are far more wonderful than anything we could have imagined.
So it sounds like what you're saying is being a flow expert means that it's really innate. It's in us. It's an intuitive nature that we sometimes overlook or pass off, much like we would if we, read the signs, pay attention to the signs. We hear a lot about that in the world too, that sometimes these things are just fleeing thoughts. Is that similar to what you're saying about just being in the flow?
Something I often say to my clients is when we make conscious what we're already doing unconsciously, that's when we have the power to change our lives. And so I know before we even hit record, we were talking about how we all have these experiences, right? We all have flow experiences, but because we're so in the moment, a lot of times what I love about flow and what I think is one of the greatest benefits is that the volume of our self consciousness and our self awareness almost turns way down. So it's natural that when come out of those experiences, it's almost as if we're like waking up and we almost forget what happened during them, or we kind of overlook them, or they're so fleeting that we don't realize how much power they have. But that's why I wrote my book because I really do believe, and from all my interviews, that we all are flow experts. But the key is realizing how much power those moments have and really paying attention to how did they happen for us? Like, what is our unique process for getting into flow? Because it's different for each of us, but it's also innate and natural. And it's like honoring who we are and how it works for us. One of my favorite parts of writing the book is I interviewed a lot of children, and children know, right? Like they know how they get into flow, they do it naturally. They don't have a lot of that inner chatter yet that we all have been trained to have. But the key thing is, we all have those inner children within us. Like we
Mm.
were children too. And so sometimes it's just remembering, like, what what were those experiences when we were a kid? What did it look like for us? Was it riding a bike? Was it playing with Barbies? Was it playing with a friend? Those are clues to our own unique formula for accessing flow.
And you mentioned your book, which is called The Flow Habit: Creating Peace, Passion, Purpose, and Everyday Miracles. And really, I mean, what I love about that title more than anything is that you're putting it back in our own hands. It's agency. It's like we're not looking for flow outside of ourselves. We're not expecting anyone to find it for us. It's an inner passion and purpose and peace, right? And miracle. You are the spark, you are the miracle.